Shit. Here we are, live again, as I try and master the art of live broadcasting. We're actually using my fucking normal internet connection today. I changed some settings around, a little bit lower video quality, but hopefully a little bit better streaming quality. You know, I've come here today to kill two birds with one stone. I want to be able to have a live chat with my producers, which I'll be patient. Hopefully somebody shows up, one of you four. There's only four of yous, that are either executive producer, or sponsor, or higher. And you guys, this is one of the benefits that I've promised you, and that's a live stream where only you guys get to chat with me. And for those of you who may be watching this outside of that realm, or maybe one of you producers or whatnot didn't get a chance necessarily to show up to this, but I want to know you to kind of at least see what my plans are doing. I do have a game plan in case nobody shows up, and that's to obviously do a recording session of my video, to try and put out some more content, because ultimately that's what you guys have contributed for, and that's to get me on here making more fucking videos and talking about shit. So I just dropped my vlog video today about my little weekend foray into the realm of sugar addiction, overdosing on it, the subsequent dopamine spike, followed by the stressed out, miserable fucking, withdrawal that kind of probably led me to be a little more harsh on the people who were, what would they call it? Harshing my mellow, I guess is the term. I didn't even know that was a term, but one of you in the comments had mentioned that, and I actually also finished Robert Lustig's book today, which I will be doing a book review on sometime in the next 3-4 days or so. I'll put out another video about my thoughts on the subject of addiction and the hacking of the American mind. So that's what is on tap for this particular, show, so to speak. Now, one of the big announcements that is coming down the pike, I've already announced that I'm quitting alcohol. I have been successful in that endeavor thus far and have not had a drink in over a week. I realize I'm not going to get any fucking coins for that. There's going to be no special parties thrown because it's only been a week. But as time goes on, I'm going to have to deal with that issue as it comes up socially, because I'm friends with a lot of drinkers. One of my favorite places to hang out with people is at a bar. And I like to sing. Thankfully, I like to sing sober, so that won't be an issue. I can still go out. I can still have a good time, drink water, and sing. Still tip the bartenders with every water, so they'll stay happy with me, so on and so forth. The other addiction that I've added to this that I'm now getting out of through a ketogenic adaptation, because I know it works for this particular addiction, and that is sugar. I'm quitting sugar too. So I'm tackling two of our biggest fucking addictions in one shot. And I'm already seeing some, issues. Now, I've always had a depressive, up and down cycle. I get depressed, then I get kind of manic and up and energetic and so on and so forth. I'm on my way back up right now. But yesterday, I was in the fucking dumps. I was totally in rock bottom status yesterday. I was miserable as fuck. So I kind of didn't do much. I played some video games. I watched some videos. I prepped a few things that I needed to prep for photography and worked through all of that. So that's kind of where I've been at with my withdrawal symptoms. But today I want to talk about why we do a ketogenic diet, what the fucking purpose of it is, and, you know, how it works with intermittent fasting and how it fits into the whole, you know, situation of trying to lose weight, fix our hormone imbalance, and generally get us out of this dopamine, you know, crushing serotonin syndrome that we've all kind of fucking been in through all of our addictions, not just diet. And I'm really starting to address the whole aspect of self-improvement and contentment. I want to be more content, maybe less pleasure, but more contentment. I want to be content with my situation, with my lifestyle, with the fact I'm not in a relationship. I don't want to get into another relationship. I want to be content before that. And then if I establish that baseline, then if someone comes in, they probably won't fuck that up because I'll have already gotten used to being by myself and will gladly, the minute things are fucked up, go back to being by myself. But I have to get over some shit. I have to learn and grow. And part of that is going back to the ketogenic diet. Every time I stray out of the ketogenic diet, I immediately notice several things. First of all, I'm hungrier on fasting days. I'm hungrier in general. On feed days, I'm hungrier. When you eat carbs, and especially sugar, which is 8 times more of the devil than just carbohydrate, glucose-based, or starches. Starches, they can help you make some fat, all right? Sugar, fructose, fruit juices, sugar without the fiber, anything that is high in fructose that overloads your liver as much as drinking alcohol creates the 8 times more fat than just glucose by itself. This is a scientific study that is proven. This is proven biochemistry. And the biggest devil in our diet, if we do nothing else to try and lose weight and get healthier and get over diabetes and get over heart disease and get over stroke, if there's anything else we do or don't do, it should be getting rid of sugar or minimizing it or keeping it within the tolerance of our liver, which I would contend is a couple of grams tops, maybe 5 grams total per session of eating. Max. All right? That's generally 1 serving of something that might have a little bit of sugar in it. Or a piece of fruit with a lot of fiber, not a non-fibrous fruit like a banana, but something more like a strawberry or a blueberry that has a lot of fiber packaged with its fructose. Not to mention a smaller dosage, because those fruits aren't as sweet as some other fruits. A banana's fucking sweet. It's got like 23 grams of sugar in it with hardly any fiber. If you eat 4 bananas, you're essentially eating a candy bar. And, or 3 bananas or whatever. And some people do that and think they're being healthy because they're getting the micronutrients. But you're still overloading your liver with fructose, causing de novo lipogenesis, which is creating the bad fat that congregates in your liver as fatty liver disease that becomes, makes the insulin resistance of your liver. You need more insulin. So you start starving more. And it creates the fat that goes out into your arteries and clogs the inflammation that comes along with it. Because when you overload fructose in your liver, you cause liver inflammation and ultimately can lead to fatty liver disease, which I have. I'm positive of that. and cirrhosis of the liver, which can fucking require you to get a new fucking liver or die. So you ask for motivation to try and do this. That's a pretty big one. And you vegans need to take note of how much sugar you have in your vegan diet. Just because it didn't come from a fucking animal doesn't make it safe for you. There's plenty of vegan labeled processed foods that are essentially just sugared up pieces of shit. They're going to have more of an effect on you than eating a hamburger will. That will destroy your health more than that. But not to get into that fucking debate again. I just wanted everyone to know that this is not ketogenic diet specific. Any diet you consume, if it is high in sugar, you are not going to be as healthy as someone who does not have sugar as part of their formula. So eliminating excess fucking sugar is key. It's what we got to do. So the reason you do a ketogenic diet when you're in intermittent fasting is it normalizes your hunger hormones. It makes your leptin work properly. It makes your ghrelin work properly. It makes your brain more sensitive to the leptin. You don't have as high insulin spikes. You're not in fat storage mode all fucking day. When you eat fat, it just comes in and you burn it off, or you put a little of it directly into your fat cells. But generally, you're not making bad fat, which is why good, healthy fats like butter, like coconut oil, like olive oil, some of the nuts and seeds, the more fibrous ones that aren't heavy in carbs, these are all things, fish, omega-3s, that kind of stuff. You want a lot of omega-3. You want a good omega-3, omega-6 balance ultimately, but we're always in the omega-6 with a little bit of omega-3. And grass-fed meats are a good source, as are algae, not factory farmed fish. Those are the things you should be looking if you're going to get your omega-3s without supplements. But getting back to it, omega-3s are ultimately in plants. The animals and fish eat the plants. We eat the animals. We get the omega-3s because we take in the fat. And we metabolize the fat as we need it. When you eat a fatty food, it sits in your digestive tract for a little while you use that energy. And then over time, if you're not metabolizing that, it gets stored in your fat cells and leaves the liver to fuck alone for the most part. Now, your liver will take some of that fat to make glucose. Your liver will take protein, a moderate amount of protein, and make glucose through gluconeogenesis to meet your glucose requirements. You do not need to eat carbs and sugar to keep your blood glucose in a normal fucking human being range. So when you eat a ketogenic diet, you essentially, over a course of 6 weeks, when you're strict with it, no cheat days for 6 weeks. Because once after that 6 weeks, you're adapted. So even if you have a cheat day, first of all, you're going to feel like complete shit during the cheat day. Secondly, you're not going to unadapt right away. You'll bounce right the fuck back. I would contend not to even have a cheat day, maybe have a cheat meal every once in a great fucking while. And I'm talking, once every 3 weeks maybe, or 2 weeks. And that's not going to set you out of the adaptation. But before you even think about that, you need to do 6 weeks solid, regularly. If you can bounce in and out of this, this will be my third keto adaptation. Last one I did was 8 weeks long, and it generally helped keep me at a lower weight once I did reintroduce carbs and sugar into the picture. But what happened when I reintroduced sugar into the picture was I became hungrier. The hormones began to fall out of balance again. The liver fat continued to accumulate along with the alcohol I consumed. I was not doing my target is visceral fat and liver fat. Turns out if you are constantly having carbs and sugar and alcohol, you are not going to touch that fat. Research that in the book that I just read from Dr. Lustig has pointed to that visceral fat goes away pretty quickly if you take all of those factors out. If you get rid of alcohol, you get rid of sugar, you go ketogenic, and you fast, you're going to burn through all the fat in your liver, all the visceral fat, and so on and so forth. And I've never really done that. I've always had cheat days. I've always bounced out of the keto adaptation. Or while I was keto adapting, I didn't bother fasting. That's what I'm doing differently this time. I'm keto adapting with ADF, alternate day fasting. And on my feeding window, I'm eating keto. And I want to see what that does. And that's what you need to do. You need to self-experiment and see how it goes. Now, obviously, giving up sugar leaves one big question. What about dessert, motherfucker? What are you going to do when you want something sweet? And I've become pretty efficient at ketogenic desserts. Now, if you know how to bake, this is going to be a fairly easy problem to overcome for you. There are tons of ketogenic dessert recipes that involve different artificial sweeteners mixed with different things. Clearly not as healthy as a normal ketogenic diet, but since you are making these from scratch, you have direct control of the ingredients, the kinds of fats you're using, the process of cooking that you do, and you generally get a lot of good fat, a huge caloric density, so you're not going to lose weight if you're regularly consuming these desserts. But if you're just looking to not gain weight while you're eating and then lose the weight via fasting, this is a good solution to keep you happy, because some of these artificial sweeteners trigger dopamine responses despite not doing the damage of fructose to your liver. And I don't care if some of them spike hunger hormones and do dysregulate your hunger issues, and you will probably eat a little more if you eat these artificially sweetened things, especially if you're doing aspartame or sucralose. Those two sweeteners are going to fuck you. You're going to be hungrier, and even if you're eating keto, you're going to eat more keto than you otherwise would had you not taken in sucralose or aspartame. Now, I experimented with many artificial sweeteners. Some gave me a lot of gas and a lot of, discomfort issues. I have since kind of found one that doesn't really hurt me that much, doesn't cause as much gas, doesn't make me hungrier. I've tried eating with it and eating without it, and I generally eat the same amount and have the same amount of hunger either way. So this is not a sponsored fucking thing, so don't go saying that Splenda's in my pocket, because Splenda does sucralose, and I don't like sucralose anymore, and I don't consume sucralose unless I'm in a pinch and have absolutely no choice during my eating window if I want any kind of sweetness mixed in. But what I do is I use this. This is Splenda fucking naturals and shit. And if you look at the ingredients, 0 calories, 2 grams of carbohydrate. That's sugar alcohol. Now, the sugar alcohol is not absorbed by your body, but can cause gas. So each packet has 2 carbohydrate grams, but they are canceled out because they are erythritol, which is a sugar alcohol which you can subtract from your carbohydrate total to get the net grams of carbs, which would be 0 for this product. In the ingredients, the only 2 ingredients, there's no artificial flavor or natural fucking flavors or any of that shit. In the ingredients, you have erythritol and stevia mixed together. I used to have a product called New Stevia I used. I didn't like the fact that it was not as powdery and it was more potent and it was hard to really gauge dosage. These are a little more plentiful with the erythritol, I believe, and they're more, they feel more like a packet of sugar than anything else. And I've had no issues with this sweetener. It's not available everywhere. You might have to order it online. I found it at one of the supermarkets we have here. The other one has yet to catch on, but I use that to sweeten my heavy cream filled coffee, which is the staple reward that I still do. Caffeine still triggers the same dopamine pathway as sugar. it's a different sensation. And if you sweeten it artificially like that, you can treat a cup of coffee after a meal like a dessert. You know, you have your savory meal and then you consume the coffee that's sweetened to make things better. But wait, there's more. So you're a lazy fuck like me. You don't want to know how to bake or do recipes. Well, first of all, you can find people that like to bake, give them the recipe and say, hey, if you make this, I'll buy all the shit. You do it, and here we go. And that's a possibility. There's a ketogenic pumpkin pie that I like that will eat up my carbs for the day, but they're healthy. Pumpkin is allowed in a ketogenic, well-formulated ketogenic diet. The sweetener used is the same stevia erythritol, like 8 packets of this goes into the mixture. And nuts are made, certain nuts, the high-fat ones like almond and stuff like that. Different. It's like a nut formula for the crust part of it. Butter, eggs, I think, are part of it. So it's a whole thing, all right? And it's as good as regular pumpkin pie to me. It tastes no different to me than regular sugared up, loaded, shitty pumpkin pie. This pumpkin pie, in my opinion, is better. And I eat the fuck out of it because I like that dessert. But I'm also a lazy fuck, so I have some go-tos that I do outside the realm to fill my sweet tooth issue while I've quit. Now, some of you are going to be like, chocolate? What the fuck? But go down and buy a 90% cacao chocolate bar, take a bite of that motherfucker, and tell me how much sugar you think you're getting. Now, if we look at the ingredients of this, 22 grams of fat, 13 grams of saturated fat. There are certain things in chocolate that are healthy for you, certain micronutrients. A little bit of sodium, which, as you know, once you go ketogenic, sodium becomes more important. You need to put salt on your foods. You need to season just about everything to get your sodium requirements because you're not retaining as much water, therefore not holding as much salt as you need to function properly. And if you don't do this, you will feel energy depleted. You will get cramps. You will have electrolyte imbalances with magnesium and potassium. And that's a thing, Also, I do believe that you do get some potassium in chocolate. Total carbohydrates, 12 grams, 5 grams of fiber. So that's a lot. So about 7 grams per serving. And one serving of this is plenty. It's like 4 little squares. A little bit like from there to there. That's a pretty good chunk of chocolate. So what do I do to make this a little more palatable? Is I'll take 1 packet of this and I'll sprinkle it all over the top until the top it looks like it's been coated. And without spilling it, because it doesn't stay on there, I'll take my bites and eat it. And it tastes just like a regular chocolate bar at that point. I'm going to experiment more with the 90% cacao and sweetener and other things, maybe putting it in with some Greek yogurt and so on and so forth. Another desserty type food for me is Greek yogurt. Does have 9 grams of lactose in it, which is glucose. Counts towards your daily carb total, so you can't overdo it or you will jump out of ketosis. And that's one of the things I do. Another thing I do is this lightly sweetened snack. Also not sponsored. It's just one of my go-tos for the ketogenic diet. It's Veronica's Health Crunch. You might have to find it online. Also rare in stores. There's one chain here that carries it, and sometimes they don't all have it. But when they do, when I see it, I buy more than one of these. And these are kind of expensive. There's like $6 to $8, depending on where you go. But I generally eat about half of this in one sitting. It contains 6.5 servings, 12 grams of fat, 1 gram is saturated. The rest of it is the nut fat from pecans, almonds, walnuts. It has some cranberries, raw honey, pumpkin seeds, almond oil, and unsweetened shredded coconut and sea salt. It has 9 grams of carbohydrate per serving, 7 of which are fiber. So you're only getting 2 grams per serving of carbohydrate here. And that 2 grams is the sugar associated with the cranberries and the raw honey that is used. Very lightly sweetened. As you get further into the ketogenic diet, this becomes sweet enough to satisfy your sugar cravings. And it is a great snack for the ketogenic diet. So that's one of my go-tos there. I go through labels. I look for shit that can be desserty that doesn't require a lot of prep, like cream cheese. There's things you can do with cream cheese that are dessert-like. You know, ketogenic cheesecakes are a thing. And you can make a low-carb cheesecake because cheesecake is mainly made from cream cheese that's very fat. And it's not until you put sugar in there that it becomes cheesecakey. And if you take that sugar away and you use some of this shit instead, then you have yourself a nice little fucking dessert. So that's what my plan is to fulfill my dessert tiles. Now, there are issues with the ketogenic diet that I've discussed in the past. They are food environment. If you travel a lot, which before I quit keto because it was so hard to do while on the road. So if you travel a lot, you try and fast during your travel periods or bring something with you that is ketogenic enough to hold you over here and there. But ultimately, I recommend doing fasts if you have the body fat to support it during times of travel. If you travel for a living, you're fucked. You're not going to be able to do this diet easily unless you can carry around a refrigerator and have a kitchen to prepare foods, because most of the foods that you are going to consume on a ketogenic diet are either raw, they go bad quickly, so you need refrigeration, or they require preparation, like eggs, meats, that kind of stuff all require cooking. And you can't just go to a restaurant and have faith that you're getting good meat with no sugar sprinkled in here and there, because you don't know what the food industry is doing when they make your shit. Now, I'll take chances on a ketogenic diet when I go to a restaurant and try and find things like buffalo wings generally aren't sweetened at all because hot sauce has no carbs, which is great. I have a jar of hot sauce to mix with the cheese curds that I snack on. You got to keep important that, when you go keto, when you're fat adapting, the important part of that is eating fat. You got to be pretty liberal with the amount of fat you eat and very moderate with the amount of protein. If you eat over a dozen chicken wings, you're overloading in protein. You're going to convert that to glucose and refill your glycogen. And if your glycogen becomes too full, you will drop out of ketosis until it drops back down. Might harm an adaptation. So you got to be careful while you're adapting with the amount of protein you take. Same with nut proteins. Protein is a building block of life. It is required to build muscle. You can eat it a little excess if you're in a little excess if you are bodybuilding or building muscle, and then that's not a problem. So basically what it boils down to is using the ketogenic diet to quit sugar. Very important if you're trying to get in control of your health. B, normalize your hormones, in which case your body does a pretty good fucking job of energy balance without you having to count calories, without you having to think, without you having to use my motherfucking fitness pal, without you having to fuck around at all. You will generally do better if you simply just go keto. Now, a lot of people, when they're doing a ketogenic diet, obsess about being in ketosis. I contend that is not the point. All right? I don't care if I'm in ketosis or not. What I care about, am I getting results? Is the tape measure getting smaller around my stomach? That's the main measurement I'm concerned with. Yes, knowing your level of ketosis can help you maybe do something right or wrong, but ultimately, if you're doing things wrong, you're going to notice it on the scale and you're going to notice it around your belly, which is where you will deplete fat if you get rid of sugar and alcohol completely. A certain level of exercise also helps with that. as far as building muscle, keeping you healthy, making you feel better, not for weight loss, but for health. I hike, I ride my bike, I go out and do things. That's enough exercise for me. I'm not looking to bodybuild. I'm not looking to do all of that. But there are health benefits for adding a little bit of exercise in with your ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it's a great supplement to fasting, because once you become fat adapted, you're going to go through some energy crisis. You're going to have some struggles with electrolytes, and you might experience some cramping, especially during a longer fast while fat adapted in keto, because you're not storing up a lot of these electrolytes that you need. You need to drink more. You need to consume things that have potassium and magnesium in them. That means more vegetables. That also means for me, coffee has potassium in it, and I think chocolate does too. So if I'm eating those things, I'm getting my potassium. So electrolyte balance is important. Bone broth as part of your eating window is important. Especially if you're planning a long fast. During your eating window, you should be consuming lots of sodium, lots of bone broth, lots of magnesium in the form of leafy greens like spinach and whatnot. And you need to prepare better for your fasting window than you otherwise would have when you're retaining 4 to 5 pounds of water on your body that will be pissed off through the course of a longer fast. And as such, you won't experience the cramping issues or the electrolyte imbalance until that weight is gone. And then you're going to feel like a complete bag of shit for a little while because you're not fat adapted. And you're also not adapted to the carbohydrate issue. All right, Ronald, I see that you've joined. We're on a 30-second delay here. Let me know if there's any issues with the stream, and then we'll bullshit a little while after I finish my little ketogenic diet spiel. And thanks for all the messages you send also, by the way. I remember all of that. So it's good that I got one of you to get here. I was a little worried nobody was going to show up at all. So it's no problem. It was kind of, a work in progress and trying to figure out the best night to do this. Maybe really late at night on a weekend or something might be better. But we'll figure it out as we go. Also, I'm filming a video for YouTube at the same time. That's what I've been doing for the past half hour, 40 minutes or so. So welcome to the live stream. And for those of you, who are watching this on YouTube, you can, for $10 a month or higher, participate in a monthly live stream where I can be a little more personal, keep up with the chat a little better, and really kind of keep things flowing a lot better than when I do. I'm still going to do YouTube live streams. I'm still, but as we know, when I do that and I get 50, 60 people in the chat room and everyone's trying to scream out, he hasn't answered my fucking question yet, because it's really hard to keep up with that volume of people. So it's nice to be able to get in touch with the people who really support this channel the most. Out of everyone who watches or contributes supports the channel, but the ones who do the most, I feel, should be able to communicate a little easier with me. So you can do that on my Patreon page, Scott the Truck Driver. The link will be in the motherfucking description. So that's my plan. Ketogenic diet, once again, third keto adaptation, ADF, 36-hour eating window, 36-hour fasting window. And hopefully we will be able to notice the progress over the coming weeks to see if I still remain at my plateau of 191 pounds. I was 190 pounds this morning, 0.1 I think it was. And that, 37-inch around the belly. So I've got some still belly fat. I haven't even fully recovered from that sugary shit I ate over the weekend. So it's good to be keto adapted. I'm feeling better today than I did yesterday. Yesterday was a rough day from, I think, withdrawal of not drinking over the weekend, of over consuming the sugar on the day, and sugar, you go through withdrawal a lot quicker when you stop. my fasting period, I was going for a 5-day fast. I ended up at 72 hours when I broke it, and I broke it with, I believe it was pepperoni, mozzarella cheese, and a little bit of Rao's pizza sauce, which is only like 3 grams of carbs per serving, and I pretty much only did 1 serving with that and mixed it all together like a big bowl of fucking cheese and pepperoni. It was like pizza with no crust, and just ate it with a fork. Tastes the same as fucking pizza, but 10 times more healthy. So that's what I've been doing there. So as far as the YouTube crowd goes, I want to thank you guys for liking and subscribing, and I'm going to spend some time with Ronald here and bullshit a little, and and see if he has any questions about the future of the channel, which is going to be, there's going to be long gaps and whatnot. This is going to be edited for YouTube, this part of the video, but if you would like more content, go to my Patreon page. For $1, you get a daily typed blog, except for maybe on the weekends, but I still even do it on the weekends sometimes. You get a weekly podcast at $5. At $10, you get to participate in the more personalized live stream. And at $20, you of course, you get all the other benefits. The higher you go, you get all the lower tiers. And then I'm looking at right now doing one-on-one counseling or chats via some kind of like maybe Google Hangouts or Messenger or something. I have to set it up. I have to figure out the logistics of it. I've got people already interested in doing this, so I'm pretty much motivated to make it happen at this point. So that's what's on tap, and I'm also looking at reevaluating some of the rewards that I've offered already, because I just haven't had time to do the image stuff because I'm so busy with the video stuff and with client work, and of course Uber, trying to fill in all of the gaps financially. And, I just haven't had time to sit down and put together some art for the channel. So I'm thinking you guys might not give a shit about art and might just want more of the lifestyle, health improvement, videos that I do anyway, and only on a more personalized level, where we can discuss your individual issues with the ketogenic diet, or with fasting, or with minimalism, or addiction, or any of these other issues that I'm taking on in my own life and learning about and trying to fix. So please like and subscribe. And remember, I'm not a fucking expert. I'm just a fucking asshole. All right, we're back to good. Sorry about that. So yeah, basically what I'm asking you, Ronald, is have you found that your plateau has gradually, and I do mean subtly, lowered? We're talking maybe a pound or 2 over a 6 to 8 month period. I'm not sure how long you've done fasting with ketogenic diet or paleo. Which, by the way, keto and paleo are great for not regaining weight. But even on those, after I do an excessively long fast where I drop down to 185, 186, is 186 being the lowest, I still regain the weight. And that's part of our energy balance system and our hormones. So yeah, they're self-regulated enough to where we don't overeat when we're eating keto and paleo, even if we're not fasting. But there's still a set point, and that is the issue I'm dealing with personally, is the set point. And I think part of it is that I still have sugar and alcohol in my life, and now I'm trying to cut that out and see if I can get and maintain through ADF and ketogenic diet a 185, 36 inch or lower belly fat. 36 inch or lower is my goal. And I've gotten within spitting distance of it with 36.25 inches, and that's eating standard American diet shit with ADF. So it'll be interesting to see what, doing it with a ketogenic diet does for me, because I haven't really experimented with it. I've done some long fasts with a ketogenic diet, and I also got down to the 180s and then bounced right back, even though it was keto. So it'll be interesting to see. So your low in 2013 was 195, and it crept up over the years despite being keto mostly. So, but you said you were 192 now. So is that your new plateau? Or is that just your low side and you regularly bounce back up to 195? It's like keto wasn't effective for losing, just maintaining. Well, that's true. Keto is not, at first when you are overweight and go to a ketogenic diet, you're pretty much going to reduce your set point to not necessarily as thin as you are hoping to get, but you're definitely going to normalize your hormones. However, your hormones are still not going to want you to lose weight, at least not at an alarming rate. The faster you lose weight on a ketogenic diet, the more you're going to plateau before you get to your ultimate goal. So when you first start out and you're morbidly obese or obese, and you go on a ketogenic low-carb diet, you will see results. And it will be like this curve that levels out. And it's going to level out, and has, for me at least, before you get to your fucking goal. Which sucks. Pisses me off. However, what the ketogenic diet does is it normalizes your apostat. Your hormones are designed to regulate your caloric intake on their own without any conscious effort on your part. So for example, if you on a ketogenic diet go to the gym and burn 1,000 calories more than your basal metabolic rate, and then you come home, you're going to be hungry after the exercise, a couple hours after the exercise, or maybe even the next day. And you are going to, without thinking about it, consume enough to make up for the extra calories you burned. That is what the apostat is designed to do. During hunter-gatherer days, there weren't a lot of fat motherfuckers, all right, because of that hormonal balance, which wasn't fucked up by all the processed foods and sugar we have today, that allowed us to continuously keep our body weight the same. So what a lot of people with the ketogenic diet don't understand is that once we've normalized our apostat, once our hormones are working properly, once our leptin's saying, hey, motherfucker, you got enough energy on board, and the more weight you lose, the more you're going to eat in response. And even with fasting and keto, you're going to notice, like I did, that after you do a particularly long fast, your brain's going to notice that your fat level dropped, that your leptin level dropped, and it's going to make you consume enough to get to that baseline. So the issue, the thing that there's hardly any fucking research on, gym rats will tell you to go fucking bro science that shit off in the gym. Dietitians will say just eat less calories, make a conscious effort to not overeat. When you're hungry, don't necessarily eat, but that just continues the cycle of making your hormones panic more and respond more to your weight loss. And you will regain, even on a ketogenic diet, you will regain weight to your baseline. Now, the great thing about the ketogenic diet, though, is that you will gradually maybe inch that down a little with fasting as your body gets used to these lower weights. I'm not sure if there's a mechanism for this. I've been researching this for a long time because it's been an issue for me for a long time. But gradually, if we can lower that set point, and mine has lowered over a specific length of time, I've gotten down to 190, 191, which a year ago wasn't happening. It was 193 to 196 was where I hovered on a ketogenic diet during the middle or late stages of the keto adaptation. So what the ketogenic diet really does is levels out our apostat makes our hormones do their job. So you don't need MyFitnessPal. You don't need, to run your ass off to work off food you just ate or whatever, because it's just going to make you hungrier, which is why exercise is not a good weight loss tool, because your body responds to it by making you hungrier, and you will intuitively eat more. Now, you can willpower through that shit, but then you're just adding to the hormonal dysfunction, and you will rebound weight gain the minute you don't have the willpower to keep your caloric intake lower. Eating low calorie is not the way to weight loss. Fasting and maintaining your weight with proper hormonal regulation and fixing the problem and not consuming sugar and alcohol are the keys to losing and keeping off the weight. As soon as I started fasting with keto, I lost 30 pounds in like 2 months. Since then, I haven't been consistent. I always fast a few days a week, but there's always sad events, work, birthday party, etc. Very good points. Have had a hard time not overeating after fasts, especially crap foods. Keto makes it easier. Now, you are going to regain significantly more weight after a long fast if you are breaking it with the standard American diet, and you can't eat for as long before your next fast, which is, one of the things I've learned is if I'm going to eat shit foods, I have to fast longer. And that's not all. During those fasts, I'm going to experience more hunger, more discomfort, more, irritability. I'm going to get more hangry. I don't get as hangry when I'm keto and fasting. And generally, you can't handle stress as well when you're eating standard American foods while fasting. And stress is a factor. It's really hard to fast because fasting in and of itself is a stressor. If you're in a stressful environment and you do a longer fast, you're going to be less successful if you're breaking it and not fat adapted. If you're eating carbs and you're a carb burner, you are not going to be able to easily do long fasts. It's going to require more willpower, more feeling like shit, and that's just part of the issue. Whereas if you're keto, your fasts will become a lot easier, but the electrolyte thing comes more into play. The cramping, the, keeping your energy levels up because your sodium may be depleted. If your sodium depletes, you're going to feel like shit. You're not going to feel energetic and so on and so forth. You're going to feel like a bag of shit. And generally that's when you break your fast, because that means you're having electrolyte problems and you need to replenish your electrolytes. I never weigh myself after a feed day. Only at least 36-hour fast gives me a good idea of progress. I've never counted calories, carbs, or anything. That's a good point. I come down on people a lot because a lot of people come to me. They're like, dude, I do this many carbs and this many of that and this, I don't believe in metrics anymore. The only metrics I go by are the target metrics. Is my belly shrinking or not? And if it's not, then I'm doing something wrong, or my body just isn't ready to go down yet. Maybe we have to spend a significant amount of time at our plateau before we can lower the set point. So that's another question I have yet to answer that I plan on working on in my self-improvement. Ultimately, I want to be a nice, healthy BMI all the time. I am getting closer to the, I've dipped my toe into normal BMI with the 186 pounds. But I want to stay there. I want my set point to be there in the normal BMI range with a normal belly measurement, and to know that my fatty liver isn't a problem anymore. And I have to give up a lot of fucked up addictions to make that happen. And I'm not even saying I'm going to be successful. I might fall flat on my fucking ass trying to quit this shit, trying to get out of these addictions, but we'll just have to see. Time will tell. Yeah, no worries. I have to go back to work. Keep it up. Well, thank you. And thank you for helping out. And thank you for all the comments you've been posting lately. They're definitely keeping me on point and helping me grow the channel and helping me think of new things to do to help everybody out, to keep this self-experiment journey that I'm on going and keep me accountable so I don't fuck up as much. So thanks. You guys help me as much as, you say I help you. Sometimes you guys probably help me more because you guys keep me from giving up and keep me from quitting. It would be so easy in today's environment to say, fuck this shit. I'm just going to do what the fuck I want to do. I'm going to get drunk. I'm going to fucking eat fucking donuts and cookies and fuck this shit. I would probably have done that if it weren't for you guys. If it wasn't for what you guys have done, I would have probably already given up this shit and been like, just like everybody else, dying in my 60s, maybe even my 50s, getting diabetes, having a horrible 20 years of quality of life at the end of my life, and dying a horrible, slow, painful, financial, destroying death. So, have a nice motherfucking day and shit.